Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another exciting head-scratching episode of Insane Disappearances. Today, I'm going to flip the script like I usually do. I got an interview of someone today, and he is here to talk about a lot of cool stuff dealing with, the behind-the-scenes look at the national parks, like the Dennis Martin case and all sorts of great stuff. But we're going to go right here and get into it, and I just want to say welcome to my channel, and I can tell that we got some good stuff to talk about. So let's start off with introducing yourself so everybody will know who you are.
Hello, my name is Robert Fixico. I'm originally from Fort Gibson, Oklahoma. I've been a career public servant since 1976. I am currently 60 years old. I'm still working toward retirement. We'll get started here. I want to go back and talk. Everybody always talks about the Dennis Martin case back in 14th of June 1969. The Great Smoky Mountains, where that young man disappeared in Spence Field, Western North Carolina. You have to understand, everybody sits there and goes, yes, the child disappeared. I know the Key family saw something run away with a small child, but then they talked about the Green Berets coming in and said, why did the Army show up and they didn't want to assist in the actual search for the child, or they did assist in the search and they did not tell anyone. Western North Carolina was, back in the 50s and 60s and part of the 70s, in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, was part of the U.S. Army Green Beret training facility. They still have it now, but it's under Robin Sage, which takes place over 15 counties in central North Carolina since the accident in February 2002, where there was a sergeant and a lieutenant who were shot to death by a deputy sheriff right after 9/11 because he thought that they were terrorists. That was a horrible tragedy that happened. They brought it all back on base for a few years and they started going back out again. Now, you have to go back in time now and think about 1969. 1969 was toward the end of the Vietnam War. There was a lot of men running, coming back, being called baby killers, rapists, murderers, arsonists, any kind of crime you can think of. These guys were so hurt by the people here in this country calling them that. Then they pop up and they find out that, oh yeah, if you come back in a body bag, you're considered a hero, but if you come back in one piece, you're a bad guy.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
But what they did, if you stop and think about it, if you listen to the politicians, they've been trying to do that with the most recent war. John Kerry, remember he served in Vietnam, Senator and Secretary of State. He talked about how our men in Iraq were doing horrible things, but he was one of those people that came back from Vietnam and said that his men and he were doing horrible things in Vietnam also.
Okay.
I know. I just brought everybody's xenophobia level sky high.
Wow.
So
So,
they're sitting there going, okay, we got foreign soldiers running around on our grounds. Yes, we've been doing that for decades, but I doubt that they actually have a portion of that. This one of them gets lost, because if they get lost, you know, that creates international incident.
okay.
Okay. Now I'm gonna go back to the guys that came back from Vietnam,
Okay.
and I found an article online. You can look it up. There's talking about soldiers hiding. I think they got a film here on YouTube. You can also look up the original Associated Press newswire, and it said, okay, I'm gonna jump in. In December 1983, the Associated Press newswire ran a story of a Vietnam veteran who had lived totally in isolation in the wilds of Washington State for almost 10 years. He was shown half naked hunting in the woods. He was not alone. In the weeks that followed, a dozen more Vietnam veterans were discovered hiding in the wilderness, living in self-imposed exile, hiding out in the country. They felt that they had been rejected after the Vietnam War, and they were angry, embittered, and dangerous men.
Wow.
And this was in 1983. Is that scary?
Yeah. Very.
This is our own people, and coming back, you know, they're getting treated like crap. Who's to say that this doesn't have something to do with? This is little factors that nobody ever quite covers. That this is what was going on during the time period between, let's say, 65 and all the way up to the mid-80s. I don't hear about it now. Now you're just talking about homeless guys, drunk guys, whatever.
Yeah. Right.
Okay, but so that was Washington State. I know that the mountains of North Carolina had them. I know the mountains of Virginia had them. Mountains of West Virginia had them. Colorado, because my girlfriend used to live out there, and she said that they had feral people who just lived out there in the woods. She said some of them were veterans, some of them were just crazy. They just couldn't handle living in town and being around people anymore.
Wow.
Now, what we're going to talk about, we're also going to talk, I'm going to move on to my next point. We're going to talk about the National Park Service. You have to look at the economy of the National Park Service as part of the Department of the Interior. Under the Department of the Interior is the Bureau of Indian Affairs, along with the National Park Service and the National Forestry Service. And the National Park Service actually has the smallest budget under that department.
Wow. I never would have guessed that.
Well, considering they got things everywhere, okay, now you got National Forest. Have you ever been to a National Forest and seen the signs where they say you got to have a permit to camp? You got to have a permit to hunt.
Right.
Okay, national parks don't do that because it's kind of sort of controlled. They do have a law enforcement agency within them, and you may have one park policeman, especially out in, say, out in the Midwest. You may have 2 park policemen, 3 park policemen, and they have to rove from park to park to park to do their investigations, to do their patrolling.
Okay.
It's kind of like a game warden is what they are. You got one man. You got several counties. They got one or several counties they have to patrol. You have to stop and think of it that way. But we'll get back to, let's go back to the Park Service. The Park Service runs pretty much on a shoestring budget. That always has run on a shoestring budget. Now, when somebody takes missing, okay, because a part of my public service, I spent 20 years in law enforcement. I will explain this. That you have to look at the economics of an investigation. And the easiest way, let me go here. I have to write it all down.
Right.
The economics of an investigation. Okay, everything has to be done within 48 hours to try to solve the crime.
Wow.
You have to start off, first, this department has the money to throw this at, throw the resources at it. Next, you got to have the manpower. You got to have the volunteers to go out there. Volunteers, you know, they're volunteers, a lot of them work for a living.
Right.
Then you got to have the logistics, and that also comes under money too. Because the
tell you.
Yes. That's the crazy part. That is the crazy part.
Yeah. Can you tell me anything about this Agent U that was involved in that case? Because when David Paulides talked about him, he would say like he was always out there, and then all of a sudden he commits suicide over whatever the reason.
Okay, Agent U was an FBI agent, which is not part of the Department of the Interior.
Right.
But I still think they do it too, because the first thing they did is a small child under the age of 12. They go, okay, it's a kidnapping. You know who handles kidnappings? The FBI.
Yeah, yeah.
So he comes in, he's monitoring the case, he's not getting a ransom demand, he kind of just disappears off the face of the earth, and he's sitting there looking at it going, what's going on? I can't do anything. You got one man who, his job is kidnapping, but it's not a kidnapping. I'm sure that probably tore him up. It would tear me up.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the crazy part. Because they're the ones who come in and handle a kidnapping case, but it wasn't a kidnapping. But he stood there and waited. It's like I'm not sure parents probably did too. I wonder if that might be this kidnapping. Let's see if it might be a ransom. Let's see if the kid shows up anywhere. Anybody's seen him. That's why they always go to the, what do you call it? Putting the signs up and going to Walmart. You see missing child, age progressed photo here. Because you can't really do anything right that moment. These departments really don't have the money to go chase down every lead. They hope something falls on their lap. And that's just a fact.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess that would make a person very upset if that's what they were there for, and it turns out that that's not what the case was, and yet the child is still missing, and there's no way to tell how he went missing. So.
Yeah, and see, at that moment too, when they think that, oh, this could be a kidnapping, could be a child abduction, they follow what's called Occam's razor.
Right.
Occam's razor is whatever the most plausible explanation is, that's probably what happened. It's kind of like the Murphy's Law. Anything that can't happen will happen, but you got to stop and go back and look at it. Okay, you got a woman who's dead. If she's married, the first person you go to is the husband, because he probably did it.
Right.
And it's following Occam's razor. If she's got a boyfriend, find out who the boyfriend was, because guess what? He probably did it. Bank robbery. You know, most robberies are committed by, there's usually an inside person.
Yeah.
Even burglaries are the same way too. It's usually, if your house is burgled, it's usually someone you know who had a hand in it, because they didn't come in and cased out your house. They know exactly where it's at. And if anything is kind of dumped over or whatever, that's what they do. Armed robbery, especially like gas stations, whatever, usually the person behind the counter knows the person that's got the gun pointed at them.
Yep.
And that's like, that's like 90% of the time. The other 10% is the random fool who is just broke out of jail, and he's trying to get money up so he can get to Mexico or Canada or something like that, and he'll go in and steal a place if he's got if he has no other way to do it, because he's desperate at that moment. That's at 10%.
Okay.
Yes, it sounds crazy, but it's true. Bank robberies, the first person they go around and interview everybody who was in the bank. Remember, that's the FBI there to see if they do bank robberies. And usually they find out that, guess what? Somebody there in the bank had something that knew when the money was being brought in. They knew when it was getting ready to leave. And they're able to pick up the robbery suspects usually kind of quickly.
Right.
Unless it's just a desperate person that just randomly does it.
Yeah. I see that a lot, especially here in Georgia. Every time you turn around, somebody did something randomly just because they feel like they can, or they're not thinking it completely through, and then all of a sudden, bam, you in jail again.
That's true, because most violent crimes take place over either money or sex, or it's love or money. It's what it comes down to.
Yeah, it's just like that football player I heard about on TV where he was trying to evict his girlfriend, and all of a sudden, the house gets broken into with her in it, and it sounded like it got pretty crazy because he really wanted her out, and at that point, I don't know if she said that he would have done anything, or they felt he would have done anything to get her out because he kept trying to, and all of a sudden, bam, a burglar shows up. But I think he got cleared though that he didn't have anything to do with it because they talked about it a couple of days ago.
So. Well, that's good that he got out of it.
Yeah.
The main thing is don't get caught. That's the way I look at
it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So now, as far as the situation with the Key family seeing what they saw, what do you think that was carrying something on its shoulder?
The first thing that went through my mind was the military ghillie suit, which I don't know if that was actually in use back in that time period or not, but the ghillie suit was something that was used by game handlers.
Okay.
Because, you've probably seen in the movies or on TV where the guy's dressed up in this thing that looks like he's on a giant bush walking around.
Right.
That's the first thing that came to my mind when I thought of it. But, there's no telling. It could have been a creature. It could have been a man in a suit.
Yeah.
Could have been anything. Or it could have been a man in a suit with a brightly colored bag thrown over his shoulder, as far as we know.
Yeah. Well,
but this could have been made in the right amount of time, from what I understand.
Right. I mean, because I have gotten information that there are creatures that we probably don't even know of that are predators, and they actually feast on, organs that's like a delicacy for some creatures that we don't know about. I mean, let me look at the animals that we do know of. They go straight for the gut because of the protein, So,
oh, yes.
For that to be a creature that we may not even hear of having the same type of appetite, that would be a good reason as to what that was that took him, if that was him at all. But like I said before, I mean, it's all just theories at this point because when only two people saw it. Excuse me, and that's the father and the son of the Key family. So, and then their testimony wasn't even recorded because they didn't want that out there for some reason. From what David Politis said, that he just said it would never make the paper. And it never did either. So.
It did. They made the book, though. It made the book.
Oh yeah. That's the most important part, that it still got out there. But that's why I always say it's not good to trust the media in a lot of areas because they have. I guess you could say they have like not so much an integrity, but they have to uphold something that has a lot to do with what they're doing. They don't want to just add stuff to it and turn themselves into a tabloid, because I guess that's what they be thinking. Any kind of news that isn't like credible, like logical news, they don't want to have it in the newspaper, I guess. I don't know.
Well, this is true.
Yeah.
But I know I'm getting short on time here. I'm going to finish up here in a minute and get off the phone.
Okay.
But I was going to tell you my one and only weird story about being in a national park.
Right. Yeah.
Is 10 or 12 years ago, my girlfriend, she's wanting me to go out and start hiking, that kind of stuff, trying to keep me healthy.
Mm-hmm.
And so we go to this place that has foot trails and it has horse trails. And I think it's a 6-mile hike in on foot. Around the trail we did, I'm not quite sure about the horse trail because I don't ride a horse if I can get away with it. But we walked down this trail to where the foot trail and the horse trail intersect. We left out at 7 o'clock in the morning, and where the horse parks are
Right.
Children grow at different speeds, different points in life.
Oh yeah.
But they were so eloquent. They were so friendly and smiling faces, and I was like, something just ain't right. So we walked off. We went on, finished up the next part right there. It's like another mile or so beyond where we come back out. They were gone. They were not on the bench on the way back out.
And there was no evidence to state they was even there, like footprints leading off into the woods or anything.
No footprints. There was plenty of hoof prints because that was right there at the horse trail. That's because when she said,
Right.
and when she asked, they looked right down the horse trail and said, "We're fine. We're waiting on someone." Not unless they rode in on a horse, dressed in their Sunday best,
Right.
on a Sunday morning,
Yeah.
and were picked up on a horse on the way back out. But I'm gonna tell you, there was no horse trailers parked at the other lane.
Wow.
That's what makes me nervous about that, because they would have had to go almost 2 miles to where the intersection was.
Yeah.
From where we were.
Right.
That was crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, there had to have been some kind of evolved intelligence, or they were like some type of hybrid, being from another level. You never know. I mean, for them to just pop in and pop out without getting anything dirty. So that would mean they would have had to have popped up right there where they were sitting and then disappeared from the same exact spot without having to move. So that would be my take on that. They just never moved from that spot. They dematerialized. They materialized and dematerialized from that same spot without having to get up or walk around or walk towards something like a portal or a wormhole or something. For them to just vanish like that. But that's what this channel is all about. We're just talking about.
Oh, we know.
Well,
now, I did want to put those out there because everybody's always asked, why is the Army in Western North Carolina? Why is the Army in Northern Georgia? Yeah, people take missing. But I wouldn't try to blame the military on it. But,
yeah.
Not everybody that's in uniform is a good person.
Yeah.
And not everybody that don't want a uniform is a bad person.
Yeah.
It's not the way to put it. And it don't matter what uniform it is.
Oh yeah, man.
Anything could have happened during that time period. We were not there.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
But there was a legitimate reason for them to be where they were at.
Right.
At that time.
And whoever was they met up with, they must have popped up just as much as they did, and they just left somewhere together.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Well, I do need to get going.
All right.
You have a good day, sir.
You too. And we'll talk soon. If there's anything else you want to talk about, you know where to find me.
Well, we talked about other things before, and if you want to talk about them later on, give me a call back.
All right, cool. Most definitely.
All right.
All right.
Good day.
Yeah, you too. Bye. All right, everybody. There you go. That was my interview with a man who has seen it all, who has been there, who's had 20 years, just like David Politis, as a police officer and on law enforcement and in the military. So he's seen it all. He's heard it all. So, like I told you before, if I got a video coming, it's going to be something extremely nuts or crazy, or it's just going to be the outright truth. Because like I told you, right here at this channel, it's where all the lies that were disguised as a truth are unveiled, are unblocked fully. Right here, because that's where it starts. Now, the one thing about a lot of the stuff that I talk about and a lot of the things that I'm trying to wake you guys up to, it all starts with your ego. Okay? That is what keeps us from finding out the exact truth, because the ego is implanted into our minds the day we're born. Now, I've said this in other quotes that I posted on Facebook, if you're a friend of mine on Facebook. One of them that I just posted was about how your ego is your inner being is the opposite of your ego. Your ego actually can oversee what your ego is telling you or making you do. But I've also said that once we were born, we died, because we were instantly molded, we were instantly infused with ego. That's where it started, from the day we were born. So the point where we're at today, asking questions about the stuff like, why are these people disappearing without a trace? How come there's no evidence to state what happened to them? The evidence is right in front of our face, people. We're just bombarded with all of this ego. Okay, it is caught. That is the main block of what's keeping us from finding out the truth. Once we get rid of the ego, then clarity will fall into place. But like I said before, that is a video for another time. I will talk about some of that later on. But this video was about that particular interview. I just wanted to get that out there because he got in touch with me a while back on my email, and I hadn't had a chance to look at it. And then he hit me up on Facebook Message, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I remember him." And I remember that comment that he posted that was deleted before I can even read it. You know, so I was like, "Oh, okay, wow." So I was like, "Man, I've been wanting to get in touch with him for a long time." So I hadn't had a chance to talk to him until about a couple of days ago. And he wanted to talk about some things, and there you have it. So without further ado, because this was only going to be a small video, it wasn't going to be a pretty big one, because I got some stuff I got to take care of today. You know, I'm off today, so yes, it's Saturday, it's warm. I got a little get together to go to, family stuff, you know. But anyway, without further ado, my friends, I am going to end this video, and you know how I do it at the end of every video. Aloha, mahalo, and a huyo.